Hey, Decathlon Gamer, welcome back to F1 Manager 23, episode 73. We've been waiting a long time for this one, and we finally have saved up enough money. We've got 39 million in the turn of the month coming here pretty soon. And with that, the CFD Simulator final upgrade. We're on the fourth now, so the fifth upgrade. 29 million is the cost, but we have dropped condition all the way down, so with the effectiveness at 60%, it's going to be a huge jump. We're essentially doubling everything from this point. That's going to be a huge gain, but it's going to take over 3 months to complete, so it'll be next season when we have it. Thanks to the summer break, we've already transitioned into another month as we enter September. So Florsch adds 1 point to cornering and 1 to braking. That's a fantastic distribution of 2 points, adding direct pace for her in both. As for Tanaka, we have a +1 in control, +1 in overtaking, +1 in defending. Control will certainly help, but the other two won't do much for her pace. We need her accuracy. Seemingly, we need her accuracy to go up and then her cornering to continue to rise. And for Bernadette Brunn, who is still third place in the F3 championship at this point, by the way, since leaving the team and coming to us 4 races ago, F1 calendar-wise. But overtaking, +1, +2 to defending, +1 to reactions. Reaction will definitely help her pace. In fact, it's the only one that's on the slower side in regards to her pace.
Our Formula One season continues here, in the Republic of Singapore. The Marina Bay Street Circuit is lit up and ready for action, looking like some sort of scene from a science fiction movie. But the competition is real, and nothing else can deliver quite like Formula One. The bumpy street surfaces here make this a challenging circuit for the drivers, and the humidity causes them to lose as much as 3 kilos over the course of a race. But it's also tough on the cars, with 23 corners to tackle each and every lap. Good low-speed downforce will make all the difference here. Final checks are being carried out on the grid. And this is it, the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And we're racing in Singapore right from the back of the grid. It's a driver's track, and we just do not have the drivers for it. So this is going to be a quick one, unless something surprising happens, like us being competitive. Right now we're at 19th and 20th, right where we started. Tanaka was well off the pace. Half a second a lap slower than Florsch, and we're seeing a move underneath as Tanaka up to 19th. Nice. Good for her. Tanaka does have better raw pace than Florsch. She just doesn't have the consistency, and right now she has better pace. She's pulling away from Florsch, so for the first time we might actually have 2 teammates that can actually race one another, because even in the very, very, very first season when we had Albon and Sargent, Albon was always well clear of Sargent. There was a head-to-head race between them maybe once all season. Tanaka ahead of Hadjar. Florsch is right there too. Sargent is the next one in line. Nice. That's good to see. You have Romeo's both in the points. Not so good to see. Haas in the points. Not so good to see. And Tanaka, 10% worse on the softs. I think I might have to alter her strategy and go soft, hard soft if we're going to make it to the end, or we'll have to see what sort of tires we have left, but she's definitely going to end up having to pit early. That 38% is just not going to cut it. She might be the one further ahead right now, but it's not going to be enough. Hadjar gets back around, so we've dropped back down the order. Tanaka on pit road right behind Hadjar. A lot of cars pitting this lap. 2.392. It's a good lap. Still come out behind him, though. Florsch pitting 1 lap later. Entered pit road in P13, meaning there's enough cars and the field spread's not much, and she comes out ahead of Tanaka. So Tanaka actually the overcut in this situation. Florsch able to get ahead of her teammate But problem is we are down to last place, just a second and a half behind Hadjar. Magnussen with the crash. He's in the McLaren, not the Haas. Didn't even see anything. Didn't see anything at all.
As for the
Was
team
there a
back in
touch?
the garage,
Got a few cars on the hards. A lot of the cars that have pit have come out on softs, including Hadjar. So they are going to have some extra pace now, but not later. Interesting choice. But I could see how track position matters here. So soft could be very helpful. They have a VSC. Not time to pit right now, though. Dragovic with the crash on 13. Tight hair, almost hairpin. And he's not able to get through as he locks up. With VSC, I'm wondering if Tanaka... What would it look like if we tried to go onto the hards from here? We can do about 41 on the mediums. And we've done 6. But the reality is it's 22 laps that they can do out of about 40. So about half the distance. So 53 would mean 26, 27 laps. That's a little short. That's a little short. Maybe 10 laps short of where we would need to be. Meaning it's not a good time to pit. Sargent, Norris, the only 2 cars that did opt to pit. We're slowly drifting back of Hadjar. But we went from 1.7 to 3.7. So we've only lost 2 seconds being on a totally different compound. What sort of advantage will we have on the final stint? Fingers crossed it's a good one. Uh-oh.
and we've had a
While
crash
getting
on
overtaken by Tanaka, Florsch has crashed.
Right, we're at turn 14 here. It's
Just touched the
contact
outside
there.
wall.
Now
Fortunately did not connect, make any contact with Tanaka. Minor front wing damage and minor suspension damage. Keep her out. She's been caught and passed by Sargent, but Sargent's also on new softs in a faster car. Magnussen pits, comes out behind us. We've caught and passed Hadjar. Hadjar is already pit early. Onto the hards. They didn't have much faith in those. Okay, well, we do have something to play out with later here. Florsch only 2.8 behind Tanaka. Optimal lap, okay. And right at 30%. We'll take it. I'm worried about this last stint, though. Kind of wanted to go one more lap. We're going to go one more lap. Florsch, this is fine. We'll have Florsch pit this lap. Tanaka pit the following lap. Tanaka, go ahead and push on the fuel. Lean on the fuel right now to get a little extra pace. Florsch, pit road, final time, 2:4.21. Okay stop. We've not had a great stop in a while. Tanaka will pit this lap. She's down to 25%. But so far so good on it holding out. And Tanaka enters pit road. So she did not puncture. She made it. Stretching that one extra lap. Pace was probably not great. Good chance that Florsch is going to have a pretty good pace here. But we already saw that the overcut worked last time. What happens this time? Well, it's a 2:4.88. It's about a tenth slower than what Florsch had. And she is 3 seconds. 3 seconds behind Florsch. Yikes on that part. She went from second and a half ahead of her to 3 seconds behind in one lap. With a pit stop that was only a tenth of a second slower. So Tanaka back down to 19th. Florsch 20 seconds behind. How many cars need to pit? Sargent pits, comes out ahead. Maloney, Piastri will pit. Norris is about to pit. Russell will pit. They're way too far up. Piastri, the only one who maybe is far enough down. No, he's 50 seconds ahead of us. So no, This is it. We're going to be right at the back of the grid on the softs, though. We're going to be faster than these guys on the hards. But how much faster? We'll see if that time comes down. Sargent's on brand new tires. Once he gets past Hadyar, we'll really see what happens with that gap, more so than what we're seeing now. Tanaka catches Flourish and has overtaken her, so Tanaka is showing better pace on this track anyway, where it's a real driver's track. Meanwhile, Hadyar is 21 seconds ahead, so we were about 22 behind him, so we have gained some ground. Piastri pits. We're definitely closer to him. Oh, it's not. No, it is us. We are involved. I'm confused. Drugovich is out, but we were nowhere near Drugovich.
Right, let's follow the action now at turn 7. Barely any room to maneuver.
Flourish,
There,
Tanaka.
the cars make contact. And having seen
That's our
it
two
back,
drivers coming together.
pretty
That's the
obvious who
last
was at
thing you
fault.
want to see. The thing I want to see didn't last long. Tanaka being faster than Flourish, catching her and overtaking her twice in this race. Our two drivers taking each other out because their driving standards just aren't good enough. That's the last thing we wanted to see. They're both retired. They were at the back anyway, but now they're going to be carrying a ton of damage. Alright, well, it's Russell getting overtaken by Verstappen on the inside here of turn 1, but they will continue side by side through 3. But Russell's going to pull ahead. Tanaka gets the time penalty on causing a collision. Add salt to the wound. It was not to be today. Rough go. Those first 2 races were beautiful, but the recent outings, much less so. 10 laps to go. The battle seems to be between Verstappen and Russell, but Zhou Guanyu is in 3rd. That's a holy crap kind of moment, but they're ahead of us in the standings, so I guess we're okay. It's Porsche and the Aston Martin who looks to gain some points today, and that's about it in terms of danger zone. Sainz got around Zhou, and that's opened up the late battle here with 4 laps to go between Verstappen and Russell. Once again, a lot of back and forth between the pair of them. Little bit ahead of the chasing pack, and the rest of the field not changing much. Ocon, Maloney back and forth, battling it out, but field's just bunched up. That's it. Otherwise, it's mostly the same position standings as to what we had before. On the final lap, Russell, for now, holding off Verstappen. He's got one more DRS zone to navigate here. Cross the bridge. Flap open for Verstappen. He's going to take a look outside, then inside, and couldn't get up alongside him, but he's going to have another nibble at it on the outside just following that, but that's going to do it. It's Russell for the win ahead of Verstappen, Sainz, Zhou down to 4th, Leclerc 5th, Tsunoda, Porsche down to 7th, Norris, Maloney, and Ocon. AlphaTauri picking up a couple points. 6 points for Aston Martin in 8th place on this one now, but already. But there's 52 points separating us with 7 races to go. It seems unlikely that they're going to get what they need. Alfa Romeo, though, pulling away a bit, catching up to McLaren, actually. McLaren's not done much in quite a while. AlphaTauri getting their 2nd and 3rd point of the season. They had just 1 prior, so that's a big day for them. The pit stops were less than stellar. They were only 4th and 5th on the day, so more insult to injury. Wow, bad day at the office. Both chassis destroyed, both front wings destroyed, both suspensions destroyed, and the powertrain pretty much destroyed across the board for Tanaka. The ERS gearbox officially destroyed. The engine down to 28%, and all 3 of those were pretty good ones. So massive losses. I mean, that's about a 60% drop for the engine and a complete loss in the ERS gearbox department. Tanaka, I think, is going to have a penalty for an ERS now after this one, as that was the last one she had remaining. Meanwhile, looks like Florsch may have been unaffected. Her ERS was already in the 50% range. The engine was pretty much brand new, so maybe a 10% knock, but I doubt it. I think that might have just been Corso weekend, maybe a 5% drop. Gearbox might have taken about a 15% loss, but pretty mild stuff there. A vote for changes in the prize share, making it a little bit more back end of grid friendly, though not for last place, but that's okay. We have not been in last place anytime recently, and taken just a little bit away from the front. We'll go ahead and vote in favor of that.
Konnichiwa from the Suzuka circuit in Japan. This unique track is a favourite home for motorsports, and it welcomes us back this weekend. Get ready for exhilaration and speed with the Japanese Grand Prix. Suzuka is a high-speed, high-downforce circuit with unpredictable weather. Drivers need to have total trust in their cars to make the most of this challenging figure-of-8 lap. We're all good to go here in Japan with 53 laps around the Suzuka circuit. Now, this could be an important race for Pierre Gasly.
A P16 start means they'll be busy looking ahead, but they'll have to be wary of those also towards the back of the grid.
And the time has come. Let's go racing. Get ready. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And we're racing in Japan. Let's speed things up. We're starting from the back. However, good news on this one is Tanaka did not qualify last. She qualified P16, but new ERS plus the grid penalty for causing a collision with her teammate last time saw her drop well down the order from where she was anyway, so she started last either way. But Florsch, P19, and was just a hair off where Tanaka is slowly but surely starting to show that she does have better pace head to head than Tanaka. It's 3 races in a row that we've seen them awfully close to each other, and starting to see Tanaka emerge as a better driver in regards to pace. Florsch has the driving standards though. Lots and lots of experience, does not make the mistakes, better on tires, and we are going too deep here. It is lap 3 now, so I went a little long on this, but 2.5 laps, yeah, we went a bit too long. Alright, well, speeding things up. Looking like it could be another quick day. Florsch still ahead of Tanaka for now, but already off the back. Tanaka goes around. Will they, with DRS, be able to do something? Florsch was out of DRS range, but got DRS anyway. It used to be in F1 Manager 22 when you had a very clear driver development, and the driver development had a lot to do with performance. If you're overtaking, if you're defending, you're getting more XP. So Florsch and Tanaka going back and forth in F1 Manager 22 level up significantly faster. How it works exactly in 23? Not sure. Does it do us any good to have a driver compete in F1? FP1? I don't know. Does it do us any good as we've caught up? Florsch has made her way ahead of a car and is challenging another, and Tanaka gets around as well. Okay, this was pit stop time. It's Piastri, but we've caught back up to Hadia. No one's pit yet, right? No, nothing. Got some cars on hards and mediums to start the race, helping keep the field more bunched up than it would be normally. Florsch can definitely extend, but Tanaka's in real trouble here. Her tire wear has been abysmal this race compared to normal. I think we're going to end up having to put her on the hards, not the mediums. 33% coming up on the end of the lap, so we'll give her one more lap before we pit with Tanaka, and that's not so bad. We'll be able to go mediums. She'll just have to extend that one by a lap. Haven't used this cam in a long time, but here is Tanaka's visor cam. Volume has always been way, way, way too loud. 2377. Florsch, I'm going to extend by a lap because she's doing well. Going to allow us to push more down the road here. 2 laps after Tanaka, Florsch comes down pit road. It's going to give her a lot more freedom to make different decisions. Kind of a slow lap, not a super slow lap, but a 2.482. We haven't had a 2.2 in ages. It's been many races since we've had a 2.2. Florsch still ahead of Tanaka, and by pitting later, gives herself enough freedom to have that extra, 5% already ahead. We can definitely push on to get up to temperature earlier. Already ahead of Tanaka and actually pulling away a little bit. So this is Tanaka having pace, but Florsch having tire management advantages. That's setting her up for this one. We are ahead of Hadjar. Both drivers are. And we're definitely not out of range of a Gasly, Albon, or Drugovich, but we'll see what happens on this stint. A lot of cars on the mediums, Gasly on the softs. You can get away with pushing for quite a while with these, but they do eventually overheat a little bit, so we'll let it cool back down and then start pushing once again. Already lap 24. Gonna start pushing again. Florsch has added about 1 second on the gap over Tanaka with her push, but she's also lost a second and a half. But that was Gasly on softs who pulled away, has overtaken Sargent Magnussen, but Magnussen's also on softs. Pulling away right now. 83. Okay, he pit a bit later. Alright, we'll cool back off. We can definitely push more than we can at some other tracks. Under other situations. We are expecting some light rain today, but you can see it's coming fairly late. It's going to be fairly light, and grip is not going away. It's just going to get less so. Fuel's still an issue, but with the rain, we'll lose a little bit of pace. And that should help us recover fuel quite a bit faster. And there it comes. It's only lap 32. 20 laps would suggest intermediates to the end, but if it doesn't pick up enough, if the grip does remain, that's what we're going to be watching, the rubber and the grip. If it's very light, if it's just a drizzle, we'll be okay. I think you almost need it to push, but this is Tanaka. Tanaka's into her pit window, and yeah, her tire wear is not too bad. Piastri's caught Florsch overtaking her, but other than that, we've run well. Up 37 now. Grip's still high. Definitely don't need intermediates. Pit stop's coming fairly soon. 0.5, but rubber and grip remain high. Guess we'll find out real soon if we get the call right, because there's a number of cars pitting now. And they put on the intermediates. They put on the intermediates. We did not. So our race is either ruined. Gasly, 0%. He punctured. But at 0.93, it's dropped to high. And we're starting to lose some pace. We went from close to Piastri to now 3.5 seconds back. 8 laps to go. Pulling away. Got around and pulling away. Maloney comes out behind us. 20 seconds. 20 seconds ahead of them, though. So, for Florsch, we want to stick with it. We're catching somebody who's holding up traffic. Is it Albon? Are we all the way up towards 5th place car? Albon pits, though. Peels out of the way. That's going to suddenly up that speed of those guys. So it's P15. Naka, unfortunately, well off pace. 2 more cars pit. Drugovich, Sargent, both pitting. Anybody left? No, just us. Hadjar is coming. He went from 20 seconds back to now 10. But we're only 4.5 back of those in front of us. So some of that was the Albin backing things up. Adaptability is actually helping Flourish for a change, but not much, is it? She's losing time rapidly. Ajar's now just 2 seconds back in, 2 laps? So we are way, way off the pace. Rubber's down to normal. Grip's still high. And this is definitely not what was expected. This is more. It's definitely more than we expected, and we're going to drop backwards, but from P13. So it has not panned out. We tried something. It, for a moment, looked like it could work. We were 13th. We were all the way up to 13th from it. Norris leads by 13 seconds. Tanaka, a lap down. And then Russell. Sainz is another 14 seconds back. Actually, it's Russell also ahead. So Tanaka would be third out on track. Going to get a lot of blue flags here shortly. And Gasly has caught up to Flourish. 2 laps to go. Wish there was a reward to retiring the car. Less wear. Doesn't count. Verstappen challenging Sainz, but otherwise the podium is very much decided as the track begins to dry out here on the final lap. And while that was 2 more races to forget, here's a couple things that are standing out for me here over the last 2 episodes and 4 races since we had the initial fantastic 2 races. Saw some phenomenal stuff there. Since then, not so much. Not so much. Flourish did have a better individual lap than anything Tanaka had, but that's also because she was able to push and Tanaka couldn't. So that tire wear part, it's a definite factor. But Tanaka is starting to show that pace. I think she's starting to settle in, and her pace is now catching up to Flourish. She went from 40 seconds behind to being competitive. Now, today, the rain hit. We tried something. It was risky. It almost worked. It was really just those last 4 laps, 5 laps that failed. That was 20 laps of rain. For 15 laps of it, things were going perfectly. And Flourish looked like she was headed for P13. The conditions got a little too bad. They weren't supposed to get that bad. They got that bad anyway. And so our weather report didn't do us justice. I didn't think we were ever going to get to damp conditions. We just about made it work. Just about. That's okay. There's no points for 13th either. Flourish has points this season, so it wouldn't have made any difference to the standings. And I don't care much about whether we have high confidence or not from the board these days. We have 7th place. We have it secured. We'll be fine. We will be fine. So the good news is that Tanaka is starting to show pace. Bad news is last race we wasted $2.5 million in damages, and then add the ERS, so that's $5 million. We lost a gearbox completely. Engine was pretty badly damaged. Officially, $5 million is what we lost. Some of what we've had over these last few races were penalties. Some of those were not our fault. We had some bad luck there. All in all, obviously not a great performance in the last 4 races. But Flourish was running in the points of one of them. This one, she was running 13th at a time. Tanaka has shown better pace. Mixed bag. Not a good bag, but there's some good with the bad. Some positive signs that we can take from what's happened there. But as for the championship, well, Flourish is 16th. Holly's still 9th. Tanaka is last. Constructors, 1 point for Aston Martin and 2 for Haas, is not threatening. It's not threatening. We're okay. 6 races. We will keep 7th. And so for that, I remain confident. Trust the process. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.